Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2426B, and today's date is March 14th, 2021, and the title of the episode is Clowns Attacking. The floor is yours. The end won't be for everyone. Let's talk about our health. A new study reveals that a tiny fish in the Amazon is able to survive piranha bites. Here's how. The three-striped cory, a small catfish, is able to survive multiple bites from piranhas completely unfazed. The secret lies inside its specialized scales. Scientists found that these fish are able to survive piranha bites due to their collagen in their unique scales. Just as collagen is the main protein that protects these fish, collagen is also possibly the most important protein inside us humans. Get multi-collagen for 51% off today by going to healthwithx22.com or click the link in the description. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they knew from the very, very beginning they were going to have to wake up the American people. Now, does this mean that 100% is going to wake up? No. It started out with a small percentage. People woke up. They started to realize the truth. Trump started to call out the mainstream media, calling it fake news. People were curious, why is it fake news? People started to do a little bit of research and started to realize the mainstream media has been lying to them. And what did the mainstream media do? They had to protect themselves, so they created fact checkers. They were going to fact check their own work. That's really what they were really doing. And Trump just kept on continuing saying fake news, fake news. And people started to wake up and started to call them fake news. This was the beginning of the Great Awakening, where a lot of people started to wake up and a lot of people started to do some research and start to figure out what the mainstream media was really doing here. It doesn't mean that the rest of the people were on the same page. It doesn't mean the rest of the people woke up the same way that you might have if you're listening to X22 or many other alternative news sites. It just means that people realized there was something wrong. They needed a change. They needed a break from the establishment. And then when Trump was cheated out of the election in 2020, a lot of people became upset, angry, pissed off. They knew that there was something wrong with all the rallies, with all the parades, with everything that we've seen. There was something wrong. And during the election, when people saw the elections were shut down for a specific period of time, people knew right then and there was something wrong. That these elections were not on the up and up. There was fraud. Now, this is the first time people got a glimpse into how they manipulated the elections. Now, if they weren't manipulating, if they had nothing to hide, the social media companies, the mainstream media, would not worry about censoring those people that were bringing up election fraud. And this is their biggest mistake, because when you hide something or you censor someone from putting out information, people catch on very, very quickly. And they're curious into why you are hiding this information. And the more you do this, the more the mainstream media, the more the social media companies do this, where they censor, it actually wakes more and more people up. Now, Trump, he knew that he was going to have to wake up a lot more people in this country. He was going to have to bring them to the precipice. Now, Trump didn't care if he lost certain battles. It wasn't about one battle here or one battle there. It was about winning the war in the end. Remember, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And he knew that, yes, people were going to become very upset about this, his tactics, because people just wanted arrests. People just wanted her locked up. But it's much, much more than this. This is about breaking their system for good, forever. Well, maybe not forever, but for a very long time. Because as we know, these same swamp creatures, they'll crawl right back in and try to take over again. But Trump, he knew, and the founding fathers knew, that eventually what needed to be done was to create a system where we, the people, are in control of it. The founding fathers did this. They had to go to war to do this. Trump didn't want a war. He didn't want bloodshed. He didn't want the people fighting each other. So they created another plan, a plan which was going to take a lot longer, a plan that was going to wake up America, a plan that was going to show America what the deep state was really about, how they operated, how they cheated, how they're corrupt, how they only work for themselves and not for we the people. Yes, this plan is a plan which is going to take a lot longer than just arresting people. And like I said on Thursday, it would be very, very tough for Trump just to go in and arrest everyone, because look what happened with hydroxychloroquine. Trump was testing the waters. Let's see how far they would go to keep this from the American people, a drug that would help them during this pandemic. Well, they went so far into creating fake studies. They went so far into having the pharmacists keep the drug from the people. They went so far for any doctor that went out there and spoke about hydroxychloroquine. They decided that they would go after their medical license and make sure that they would never work again. And Trump, he needed to see this, just like he needed to see the board now of who's with him, who's against him. He needed Biden to be president. He needed Biden in there because the people now, they're going to see the entire show. They're going to see everything. Remember, this whole thing was a setup. Trump and the Patriots set this entire thing up. Trump made America great again by doing a few things while he was president. And he knew that the deep state, the corrupt politicians, were going to have to undo it. By doing this, he's allowing the American people to see this firsthand. Remember, the power is not being the president. The power is having the people behind you. When you have the people behind you, you can go after the swamp. Because the people will no longer believe the swamp. The people will back the true president. The people are the power. And Trump knew this. He knew once he had the people, nothing could stop him. Nothing could stop Trump and we the people. And this is where all this is headed. And we can see that we're reaching, and I do believe we've probably reached the precipice. It's going to go on a little bit longer because Trump, the Patriots, they want you to see it all. But it's going to be building up during this period of time because we're starting to see a lot of things change. We're starting to see a lot of messages that are being put out there by Dan Scavino. And we'll be getting to that in just a moment. But we're also starting to see a lot of these individuals that have been in Congress for a very long time where they're deciding, you know something, I'm not going to run anymore. 6 times, 8 times, 10 times in office. I'm pretty much done now. We have another individual, Arizona Rep. Ann Kirkpatrick. She decided that after her 6th term in office, she's not going to run again. She's going to spend more time with her family. I think a lot of these individuals see writing on the wall. I think they understand that it's not going to play out to their benefit, and it'd be a good time for them to leave, to not run for office. But Trump, he set this whole thing up. He knew that they were going to have to act quickly to undo what he did. Now remember, Trump, he built the wall. He put border policies in place. Those individuals in Central and South America, they knew they couldn't come up. They were waiting for the right moment to come up. And as soon as Biden cheated his way into the presidency, they knew this was the time to come up. Now, yes, it was pent-up demand. It was pent-up demand because they knew they weren't just going to be allowed over the border. The human traffickers, the drug smugglers, the individuals that wanted to come to America, they might have been part of a gang, MS-13 or whatever. They knew they wouldn't be able to get into America because of Trump's policies. So they waited. Trump knew that this was going to happen. This was a setup by Trump. And what do we see happening at the border? Well, we have Jen Psaki. She's having troubles explaining it away. We have the South Texas migrant facility is now at 729% of its legal capacity, and the unaccompanied children are going hungry and only showering once a week. And according to reports, nearly 4,000 unaccompanied migrant children and teens are being held in CBP detention centers. Now, because of what is happening at the southern border, we have DHS chief. He has just deployed FEMA to the southwest border to help with the surge of the unaccompanied minors. And this is all thanks to Joe Biden for reversing Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. And now you can see there's a major, major problem at the border. Why do you think Trump was at the Alamo? Why do you think he was at the border wall explaining to everyone? I hope Joe Biden doesn't take down the border wall. Hope he doesn't stop construction. Hope he doesn't reverse the policies. He knew he was going to do this. That's what this is all about. It's about waking up the rest of America, showing them what these people are truly about, what their agenda truly is. Because what they have done right now is they went ahead and they made them speed everything up, and people can see a lot of this now very, very clearly. It's almost like the Paris Climate Accord. Trump removed us from the Paris Climate Accord. He knew that they were going to bring us back into the Paris Climate Accord. And here we have John Kerry and we have Biden and we have all these people out there saying, yes, we're going right back to where we were. Now, remember, when Trump won the election in 2016, they really thought Hillary Clinton was going to be in there, and that was going to give them 12 years to set everything up and be prepared and ready to tax the people and take the money from the people because they were going to have their system set up. That's what this was all about. And this is why John Kerry's out there saying, listen, we lost a lot of time when Trump was in office because he removed us from the Paris Climate Accord. And now we're going to have to make up that time because he said that scientists told us that 3 years ago we had 12 years to avert the worst consequences of climate crisis. Well, we are now 3 years gone, so we have 9 years left. Yeah, it's for their money-making system. That's what he's talking about. And we've read many times before and how all these experts told us that the earth was coming to an end. Look at the New York Times. 25 years ago, in 1995, you know what they said? They said the beaches would be underwater. They'd be gone in 2020. Are they gone? No, this is what the article said back in 1995. A continuing rise in average global sea level, which is likely to amount to more than 1.5 feet by the year 2100. This, say the scientists, would inundate parts of many heavily populated river deltas and the cities on them, making them uninhabitable, and would destroy many beaches around the world. At the most likely rate of rise, some experts say most of the beaches on the East Coast of the United States would be gone in 25 years. They're already disappearing at an average of 2 to 3 feet a year. So here we are 25 years later, a whole quarter century, and did anyone see any of the beaches disappear? Are they still there? I mean, they told us 2 to 3 feet a year. I mean, we should see these beaches completely underwater. None of this should exist anymore. But guess what? They were wrong. Just like all the other predictions, this has nothing to do with climate. This has to do with their money-making scheme and control. What other control mechanisms are they trying to put into place right now? Well, we know they're pushing their gun control bills. And Trump, did he expect them to do this? Of course. People are seeing all of this now, all at the same time. And when Obama was president, we know that he had the most mass shootings of any other president because he was trying to push the UN Arms Treaty. Remember, that was that incredible registry control that the UN was going to put into place. And now we have them pushing a de facto gun registry, pretty much the same thing. Representative Bob Good, he came out and he's warning that this universal background check legislation creates a de facto gun registry in America. That's exactly what it does. This is what they were trying to push back when Obama was president. It didn't work. Now, since that bill passed the House, we have Senator Dianne Feinstein. She's pushing, or she introduced a ban on more than 200 assault weapons. What does this mean? This means we're most likely going to see a false flag, because these bills are not going to move unless there's a crisis or an event to bring focus to them. So we're already starting to see them set this up. And her bill is called the Assault Weapons Ban of 2021. And it's co-sponsored by 34 Senate Democrats. It's the same thing they were trying to do before. The American people, every time they see this, you know what they do? They go out and they buy more and more weapons, more and more ammunition. What are they trying to do? They're trying to remove the weapons from the people. This is why they're upping the ante right now. It wasn't just the one type of assault rifle. Now she's going after more than 200 assault weapons. I mean, they just call it assault weapons. They're not assault weapons. They're rifles. And they're trying to remove them all. They're going for it all right now. I'm surprised they didn't throw pistols into this. But the bill bans any weapon that has the capacity to use a magazine that isn't a fixed ammunition magazine and has one or more characteristics such as a pistol grip, a forward grip, a threaded barrel, a folding or a telescopic stock, or a barrel shroud. So they're just expanding what they wanted from the beginning to take away more of these weapons. That's all they're doing. And they're going to continue on with this. And most likely, we're going to see some type of false flag event happen pretty darn soon. Trump is showing the world. You can see this very clearly now. Now, what's very interesting is that we knew that Biden was going to come out and give a speech about the pandemic. He was going to use the cover that masks are working, that vaccines are working. We can get rid of this very, very soon. And remember, Trump came out there and said, listen, I think this is going to magically disappear in April. Now, the mainstream media thought he meant 2020. It seems that he meant 2021. He never put a year to it. They just filled in that part of it like they always do. And again, they're wrong. He is not. Because what do we see happening? As soon as he was inaugurated, the states started to open up. As soon as he was inaugurated, the WHO started to recalibrate their PCR tests. They're no longer going out to 40 cycles. And what do we see happening? Everything's starting to drop like a rock. Let's talk about our health. A new study reveals that a tiny fish in the Amazon is able to survive piranha bites. Here's how. The three-striped cory, a small catfish, is able to survive multiple bites from piranhas completely unfazed. The secret lies inside its specialized scales. Scientists found that these fish are able to survive piranha bites due to their collagen in their unique scales. Just as collagen is the main protein that protects these fish, collagen is also possibly the most important protein inside us humans. Get multi-collagen for 51% off today by going to healthwithx22.com or click the link in the description. And remember, Dr. Deborah Birx, she worked with Trump. Well, it seems that she's getting a nice private offer to take a job with a Texas manufacturer that says its purifiers clean COVID-19 from the air within minutes and from services within hours. So it seems like she's joining up to a private company and she's going to ride the wave of COVID and make a lot of money. Now, what's very interesting is that Governor Newsom, he's in a lot of trouble because in an interview, he regrets the mistakes he made in handling the state's response to the coronavirus. Gee, I wonder why he's coming out and saying this now. It wasn't mistakes. It was an agenda. And the people are calling you out on it right now. And I'm talking about Governor Newsom because the people are saying, we don't want you as governor. We didn't like the lockdowns. We didn't like what you did. And now we're having a recall. Now he's coming out trying to backpedal on all this. It's not going to work. It's the same with Cuomo. But it seems they're trying to make Cuomo the poster child of sexual harassment. And they're trying to take the focus off of all the other governors. And what's very interesting is that Catherine Herridge tweeted this out. Hashtag Cuomo resign, break down New York Dems, reporting and put down all the different individuals that want him to resign. I do believe what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to make him resign under the sexual harassment, because if you notice, more and more people are coming forward. And they believe that if they can just do this, this will just all go away and people will forget about it. I don't think it will just go away. I think people are very upset when they're starting to hear that he purposely, knowingly put people into a nursing home and had these people killed when there was a ship with open beds, when there were makeshift hospitals with open beds. They weren't filled. He knowingly did this. And I think what they're doing right now is they're using him so they can take the pressure off all the other governors. I don't think this is going to work. I think that people see through this. I think they're trying to distract with the sexual harassment. Now, what's very interesting is we know that Biden came out with his speech, and part of his speech was very interesting. And this is what he tweeted out, and this is the part of it. It says, "Fourth, we will issue further guidance on what you can and cannot do once fully vaccinated to lessen the confusion, keep people safe, and encourage more people to get vaccinated." That kind of sounds like a dictator. We will tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, remember, the mainstream media, these corrupt individuals, they've told us for a very long time, if you get vaccinated, you're safe. You need a measles vaccine. You're safe. You won't get measles. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to tell you what you can or cannot do with a vaccine once you're vaccinated. This has nothing to do with the virus, has nothing to do with the vaccine. This is about them flexing their muscle of control. They're testing this out, and they want to see how many people are going to go along with them. Well, it seems that America is not going along with them. Actually, Trump supporters are saying, and I think this is 47% a poll was taken, that these people are not going to be taking a vaccine. And I think Fauci's out there saying, oh, Trump must go ahead and tell people, have Trump tell his supporters that they must take the vaccine. Why? When it has a 99.9x curable rate. Why would you need a vaccine? It makes no sense. And when we have a cure called hydroxychloroquine, when we have therapeutics that will cure you, why do you need a vaccine? You don't. This is about control, period. Now, what's very interesting is that Biden, he said this during his speech. If we do our part by July 4th, there's a good chance you and your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout or a barbecue and celebrate Independence Day. Small groups will be able to do this. Now, Mike Pompeo came out and responded to this and said, on the 4th of July, we celebrate America and our many freedoms. One of those freedoms is that you get to decide if you want to have a family and friends over in your own backyard, not the government. Biden is starting to sound like a dictator. Actually, the government has no say in who you can have or have not in your backyard. Remember, the Constitution is not suspended during a pandemic. The Constitution is in place. Your rights are in place. So what he's saying, this is what a dictator says. Listen, we'll tell you what to do when you get a vaccine. We'll tell you if you can leave your house. We'll tell you if you can stay in your house. We'll tell you if you can meet people. On holidays, we'll tell you if you can get together with family. No, you can get together with family. That's your choice. That's your right to make that choice. The government has no say. Then Mike Pompeo tweeted this out. President Reagan once said, if we lose freedom here, there is no place to escape. This is the last stand on earth. We must keep our God-given rights at the center of our unending quest to secure freedom for all Americans, and I will stand with you in their defense. Absolutely. Now, what's very interesting is that we know eventually they're going to have to take down the fences. The National Guard is going to have to leave D.C. And we talked about how they're planning to do this rotation of the National Guard that will fit into the plan that Trump was creating back in 2018 into 2019 into 2020. Devolution of the system. And we can see that the chairman of the National Guard Association representing more than 450,000 citizen soldiers, says it's time for the Capitol Police to resume responsibility for the safety of the Capitol. And we can see that they're saying there's no reason why the National Guard needs to stay in D.C. at this point. We know that, yes, new Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he overruled this and said, okay, the National Guard can be there for another 60 days. But eventually what's going to happen is they're going to leave this area. And there will be no more fences. The only reason they have it up there because they don't know what Trump is going to do. They're expecting him to do something, but he doesn't have to. He's not going to do anything. It's all going to be played out where the deep state will actually do it. Remember, Trump set everything into place. Durham is still investigating. He is a special counsel. There are indictments that are just sitting there waiting. Something will trigger this. The deep state will fire the first shot. Trump is counting on this. Now, General Flynn, he was speaking to people, and this is from the Red Pill Roadshow in Fort Myers on March 11, 2021. And he was explaining how we're at a precipice. And we're in a massive, massive transition period. Yes, he mentions George Washington crossing the Delaware. He mentions everything in the Q posts. Take a listen to what he said because it's very important, I do believe.
When we are at this sort of precipice, like this edge of this stage, and we're standing there, and we're in this transition period in this country, a massive, massive transition period. Had Abraham Lincoln, after the end of the Civil War, not made the unbelievable decision that he made, incredible decision that he made to say, no, we're not going to go and arrest every political leader in the South. We're not going to arrest every single general in the South. I want the word to get out that we are going to unify the nation. This is the United States of America. Let's unify this country. Okay? That man did us a big favor. He unified and became the United States of America. This crowd that's in Washington, D.C., and that's the only place that they help hold power right now, because they don't hold it in this room. They do not hold it in this room. But what they want is they want what's called the United Socialist States of America. Okay? Thank God for the Founding Fathers, and a couple of people talked about them. I mean, men like John Locke, Adams, and Jefferson, Hamilton, Franklin. I mean, these were incredibly gifted visionaries. And one of the things that they knew, because they knew about tyrants, they knew about kings, they knew about tyranny, they lived it, they breathed it, they fought against it. George Washington lost every single battle. Every single one. I mean, even the end result of the crossing of the Delaware, and then his battle down to Princeton. I mean, it was just this one long struggle of really losing everything. But what he kept alive was he kept the spirit of essentially the 4 million people that lived in the 13 colonies at that time. He kept that spirit alive.
Now, if you listen to what he said something very important at the end, where he said that George Washington lost all the battles. Battle after battle, it was very difficult. Think about Trump now. Think about what Trump has done. Yes, he waged battles. Yes, he lost battles. But in the end, George Washington won the war. But during this period of time, and if you listen to General Flynn, he said during this period of time, he rallied the people, 4 million of them, kept their spirit alive. Does this sound very, very familiar in what is going on right now? It's starting to, yes. And we're getting a lot of comms and messages from Trump, from Dan Scavino, and from many other places. What's very interesting is that Trump, he made a surprise appearance at a dog rescue fundraiser. He made an unannounced visit to a dog rescue fundraiser in Palm Beach. And he said he didn't exactly prepare for this, but I was walking and I hear everybody screaming and I said, wow, what's going on? And he walked right in. Now, this is a dog rescue, and we know that dogs, the deep state uses dogs. And it seems that Trump is sending a message. Does that mean certain individuals have turned? They've been rescued? And they're pointing the finger at others? This seems very interesting, but it's definitely a message. Now, what else is very interesting is that it seems that Tucker Carlson, he was talking about the armed forces, about how they were going to have pregnant women in the armed forces. And it seems that the armed forces decided to go after Tucker Carlson. Now, this is something the armed forces normally don't do. They're unbiased. They're not political. But it seems that they tweeted out, and one of the tweets was, "Come back when you served and been pregnant." And they went on, and people were very angry about this, about the military speaking up like this and taking sides. And now they're looking into this situation. But Dan Scavino, he tweeted out today a message. And the first one was, "Warning, official U.S. military Twitter handles, example below, targeting a private citizen, putting lives at risk. This is insane. DODIG, Secretary of Defense, do something about it," along with the other U.S. military Twitter handles that are doing the same. Now, that's very interesting. He put warning. Then he said, "Our adversaries are watching every move you're making right now, and they're laughing their asses off at the clowns behind this official U.S. military account." Now, the clowns are normally CIA. So are they controlling this? And then he continued, "Targeting and harassing a private citizen. What's next? Drones? Get your shit together. It's embarrassing." Now, if you really read what he's saying here, the first one he says we're putting lives at risk. Is he trying to say that the clowns in America, this is a direct attack? It's starting to seem that way. And it also seems that he's trying to say that the clowns have taken control of the Twitter accounts. Now, this was 2 days ago. And if it was truly putting lives at risk, I don't know if Dan Scavino would wait 2 days. So it seems that there's something else that's going on here. And he's pointing this out and letting everyone know that it seems that clowns are running the Twitter accounts. That's very interesting. But there's also another tweet from the 45th Space Wing, and they tweeted this out. "Congratulations to the airmen and guardians of the 45th Space Wing and our teammates at SpaceX on the successful launch of the latest Falcon 9 Starlink mission. This is the 21st batch of satellites we have assisted in launching to the Starlink broadband network. Great job, team." And then the United States Space Force, they retweeted this. Now, they retweeted this at 5:57. And if you go back to 5:57, and this is post 5:57, this is January 19, 2018, it says, "The floor is yours." Now, remember, the Space Force, that was created by Trump, put into place, and they monitor cyber traffic around the world. They just launched their satellites into position. They already had satellites into position. And now the floor is theirs. Are they getting prepared and ready to show the American people something? Or is something about to happen? It's starting to seem that way. Why? Because then we have Dan Scavino. He retweeted this picture of Trump sitting in a chair. He's painting. He has a painter's palette. And he's pulling back the curtain to the painting, revealing something behind the painting. Now, Dan Scavino retweeted this at 7:49. And when we go back to post 7:49, it says, and this is an anon on the board saying, "Controlling the crops controls the people, sheep. Might be reaching, but throwing it out there." Well, Q responded and said, "Coincidence, the Matrix movie grew people as crop, used for energy, and controlled their mind. Sound familiar? Wonder where they derived that idea from. Now comes the conspiracy label. Deeper we go, the more unrealistic it all becomes." Now, this is the important part, I do believe. The end won't be for everyone. The choice to know will be yours. Is Dan Scavino letting us know that they're prepared and ready to reveal something? The Space Force, it seems that they're signaling and saying, okay, the floor belongs to us now. We have Dan Scavino retweeting that picture of Trump revealing the painting, and soon the truth will be coming out. Now, does this mean it's going to happen tomorrow? No. I believe what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of things happen from this point. Remember, Trump needs certain things to happen, and General Flynn was letting us know that, yes, there's a lot of battles, but the war will be won. We're at the precipice. People are waking up. I do believe we have other phases to go through. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And Trump, he wants to show the American people, just like George Washington, the people believed in him. They were with him. The same thing's happening with Trump. And I do believe what Dan Scavino is saying is that we're getting closer and closer. Because remember, he showed a video of someone walking on the precipice. Then we had General Flynn telling us we're at the precipice. And I do believe the next phase that's coming is the 25th Amendment. Remember, Trump wanted the board cleared. Think about it. The deep state brought in the pandemic. The deep state created it. Now the deep state is removing it. He wanted them to remove it. If he stayed president, they would have never removed this pandemic. He knew this. He's allowing them to do exactly what he thought they were going to do. Why? Because he knew the playbook. He knew that they were going to remove this. Think about what has been happening right now. He already told us they're going to remove Biden with the 25th Amendment. They already know the playbook. This is the show that we're watching right now. The Patriots are in complete control. This is about winning the spirit of America. Just like what General Flynn explained, the Patriots are in full control. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.